Sometimes you just gotta go bar down.
Kirill, top titty 2x4 to end the game. That was nice.
Bardown Beauties.
That's the sexy part of the game, is it not? The plays and the goals and the...
Yeah, that's what you guys like. I mean, it is great.
And now, a new episode of Bardown Beauties with Jesse Pierce and Kirsten Kroll. In need of custom merch, SotaStick has you covered. That's right. Whether it's jerseys, tees, hats, you can go to SotaStick.com with your need for custom merch and they can get it done. Hey, and while you're there, you might as well peruse, shop. They've got fleece, they've got hoodies, they've got mugs, they've got socks, and of course, your favorite tees and hats, all custom by SotaStick. They're our favorite here at Bardown Beauties. They're the Minnesota Wild's favorite with their collabs. You've got P-Dub collabs, you've got Dinkytown collabs, basically anything you need or want here to represent your state, your sports, SotaStick has. Don't forget to smash Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off all purchases at SotaStick.com. Hello, everybody. We're back. What's up, Bardown Beauties? Episode 282. Jesse Pierce, Kirsten Kroll. Did you miss us? I bet you did. I'm loving our off season every other week, though, Kirsten. Like, it's kind of nice for everybody just to, like, stop, reset, breathe, try to enjoy weather when it's not crappy outside.
I still need the break, so I do thoroughly enjoy it myself.
Yeah. Well, and there's not a whole lot to talk about. We've got plenty to talk about this week now, but it gives us that. We get to plump it up rather than just sitting here rambling about random things. It's kind of nice to actually have, like, talking points. Plus, Stanley Cup. Florida Panthers do it back-to-back. Hockey a season officially done before it starts up again. Friday with the draft, next week with free agency. But Kirsten, Florida Panthers, I know you were on Connor McDavid in Edmonton. How did you feel about the way Florida got it done? Pretty handily, in fact, in the last 3 games of the series.
I think, my opinion, last 3 games, or more so the last 2 games, were more of a big bummer, just the way the series was going and how it ended. It kind of sucked the air out of, like, an exciting Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know. I'm over the whole Florida narrative. Good for Brad Marchand. I'm happy for him. I loved his little tirade during the celebration, going on Instagram, thanking all of the teams that got rid of players that Florida then claimed, picked up, signed, ended up winning the cup with. So love Brad Marchand, everything he's doing on his revenge tour. But yeah, I don't know. Let's get somebody new next year in there.
It is kind of a revenge tour. Like, it's so true. Like, the way he thanked every former team for his players. I mean, just a troll. A masterclass of trolling, though, because it's not harmful to anybody. It's just freaking hilarious.
I love it. I love the pettiness.
Sam Bennett, too, right there. That's why they work so well together, because Sam Bennett saying, we don't effing apologize to anybody during yesterday's parade. Incredible. Watching the way that they celebrated this second Stanley Cup. First of all, shout out to the way the Panthers handed the cup off and gave it to the guys that had never won before, the new players to the team. Love that. Nate Schmidt getting it very early on, so the cup will be back here in Minnesota. But watching, like, their bender, I really don't know if I could do that anymore. Like, back when, like, the Washington Capitals did it, which I think was the first time you've seen a team be so documentedly unhinged, right? Like, you saw how drunk they were, and now that's kind of become the norm with social media. But, like, I couldn't have made it to that parade yesterday. Like, if I were one of those players, there's no way in hell I'm making it to that parade.
No, I would be wanting to be in bed. I would not be getting up. Like, I would be asleep.
Like, I was exhausted watching all of it. I'm like, God bless you, right?
More power to them. I don't know. Maybe it's all the Dairy Queen keeping them
all
on a
the
sugar
Dairy
high.
I love it. Well, and then you have to watch. I'm obviously not a huge basketball person, but that series or that championship comes to an end. OKC claiming the ship, and they were so quiet and so moot, and there was, like, no real celebration, which was so bizarre to watch when you've been watching the Florida Panthers celebrate for, like, 5 days.
I didn't even follow any of the NBA finals, I'm going to be honest.
You don't need to. You didn't miss much, but so they have it, like, covered in the locker room just to set the scene in case anybody missed this. So OKC beats Indiana. It was game 7 of the finals, and they've got the OKC players couldn't even open champagne bottles. They didn't know how to do that. A couple of the guys could be seen visibly disgusted drinking a beer. It was quiet. It was tempered. It was tame. It was the most bizarre championship celebration I have ever seen.
I am uncomfortable just hearing about that. I don't
It
like
is
that.
it's weird because it's like it's a champion. It's the shit, man. Like I get if I know it's a Sunday night, but
And Sam
let
Bennett
loose.
also crushed your come to the Minnesota Wild hopes, saying he's not going anywhere. So
Which is, you know what though? I've always kind of been like, sure, Sam Bennett would be great. I don't know how Florida's going to keep all of those players because I do think all those players want to stay. So unless they all take team friendly discounts, there's not enough money to go around. But my criticism of Sam Bennett is Sam Bennett in the playoffs, great, freaking fantastic. Sam Bennett in the regular season is not the same Sam Bennett. So that's where I think people get so crazy and overpaying on free agency, which again starts next Tuesday, that, oh, we need to sign Brad Marchand to $8.5 million. No, you do not. He is a 37-year-old third liner at best. At best, you are not signing this man to an $8.5 million contract for 4 years. Like, that is just asinine. Sam Bennett, the same way. He's not quite that old, and he does have that good charisma. And I think same with Brad Marchand, like, not just the way that they play, but the way that they can be in the locker room. I think the Minnesota Wild are in desperate need of those vocal players like that who are going to hold you accountable and who you don't want to piss off, frankly. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Sam Bennett's gonna stay. Why wouldn't he, right? Why wouldn't Brad Marchand try to stay? But again, I think that's okay, Kirsten. Like, I'm okay. Frankly, since we're gonna talk about it, free agency, there is not a single player on the free agent market that I'm like, oh, I hope Billy gets him. Oh, I hope we pay money. Is there anybody that for you right now?
I think this is one of the worst free agent markets we've arguably ever seen. Like, there's not anybody that I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. And I know the rumors continue to circulate and gain more steam that Brock Besser is talking with the Wild. I'm indifferent if he comes here or not. Like, I don't think he's going to be a big difference maker, respectfully, coming to Minnesota if he does end up signing with Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't mind Besser here, which again I know goes against the narrative where I don't love Minnesota guys coming home. It depends on the price, right? Like, I think Brock Besser is still young, which I love. He can score. My biggest issue with him is he has to stay healthy. Like, I don't know that he stays healthy. I think he's a top 6 forward. I think he will beef up on the wing because God forbid Marcus Johansson finds his way in the top 6 again. Can't be having that. But yeah, then it also eliminates a Liam Ogren potential, right? Or seeing some of those younger guys that we've been asking to see. I'm sure it happens. It won't surprise me. Just obviously, it's an easy signing, and I think Brock Besser would like it. I think the Wild would like it. And again, there is still value within Brock Besser when healthy. But we've been talking about needing a center. There is not one single centerman on the free agent market that I need to get. You have Matt Duchene is staying in Dallas for 4 years, 4.5, which seems a little high again for an older player. You've got Taves going to Winnipeg back home. Not a surprise there. Obviously, we talked about Brock Nelson staying in Colorado. How are we going to get a center in Minnesota, especially if you're going to trade away a certain other centerman? I mean, do you think that is still the top priority? Is there one to be found via free agency, or is it going to have to be via trade?
It would have to be via trade. I mean, we're not getting Mitch Marner, for example.
No.
We're not getting Mitch Marner. There's no one else. There's no one
Right.
else. It would have to be acquired through a trade. But even then, I know Vancouver was in the mix for conversations trading like 15th pick in the first round or something for Marco Rossi, and Bill Guerin denied it. Says he wants a player and a first round pick.
As he should. Like, how much do you think Bill Guerin kind of screwed the pooch in this Marco Rossi? Now, I will reiterate, they do not have to get rid of Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi, it can be on this roster next year and everything will be fine, albeit a little bit of awkwardness, I have to imagine, between everybody because he won't be happy, Bill Guerin won't be happy. But it seems like Bill Guerin's put himself in such a weird position and predicament because other teams notice, hey, you don't want this guy, this 23-year-old first-round pick who had 60 points for you last year. You don't want him, but you want to get rid of him, right? You don't want him is the same thing as wanting to get rid of him. I apologize. But we can give it to you. We'll give you a pick. Like, there's no way in hell under normal circumstances are you going to even approach Bill Guerin with a draft pick unless you knew he was unhappy with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Whole thing's just a mess. It seems from the rumblings that it's Bill Guerin wants JJ Peterka or nothing for Marco Rossi.
And JJ Peterka, we talked about him a couple weeks ago on one of our episodes, and I think I had brought him up as a potential candidate, which I wouldn't hate, and that would be via trade with Buffalo. But Paterka's exactly like Marco Rossi in a lot of respects. A former first rounder. He's the same age. He has the same trajectory to continue to grow and build. The difference, he's a bigger body. And I guess that's fine, but it's also like if there's too much uncertainty to get that back in a trade. I think I'm going to toss one at you, Kirsten. You'd say yes or no. Liam Ogren, Marco Rossi, and your second round for... I need a name, like a big name. Like, I don't know, like somebody, like an actual big name. Would you be comfortable giving that up? And now, mind you, right now, the Minnesota Wild do not have a first round. So second is as high as they are going to draft in this weekend's NHL entry draft. But would you give that up? Plus Liam Ogren, a top prospect, plus Marco Rossi, if you were going to get, your true number one center in return?
Only if we would sign Brock Besser then to get a high caliber winger to replace Ogren. But then only player that I would want is Tage Thompson that I can think of right now. That's it.
Okay. I like that. And I think Tage Thompson would fit really well. Like, I really like that. It has to be a young player. My stipulations for that would have to be a guy 25 to 28. Maybe I could get by with a 29-year-old. Have to be a top centerman. But I think you bring up a really good point, Kirsten. And you'd have to now go. Then the Brock Besser signing makes a whole lot of sense. Works out really well because you have that extra winger there. Nikolai Ehlers, another winger that I'm very curious in getting. He would be another option if Brock Besser falls apart, or in addition to, right? It's okay to have more than 2 good wingers, right? 4 good wingers. You could have a whole team of them. I think the Florida Panthers proved that. You could have some really good, solid B wingers. That would be nice.
This is stressing me out. I don't know. I'm just stressed. I don't know what's going on.
I think the only other free agency, there's 2 centermen on free agency that I would maybe entertain for short-term deals. And by short-term, I mean 2 years, maybe 3, but I'd only be comfortable with 2. John Tavares from Toronto and Jamie Benn. Who would you rather have between? Do you like either of those 2, or would you say no? And again, I'm talking 2 years for each of them. Jamie Benn, I would give maybe John Tavares, though, is such a veteran, such a leader. I don't know. I'd give them each at least 3, maybe, for 2 years.
I don't want Jamie Benn at all, and I don't think he wants to leave Dallas, and I don't think Dallas wants to get rid of him.
Dallas is kind of like becoming unhinged a little bit. Like, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, it was Pete DeBoer unlocked a can of worms.
Yeah. But now Mason Marchment to Seattle. Did you see Mason Marchment's "Hey Seattle, I'm really excited to be here" video?
No, I didn't.
It was almost as bad as Eric Stahl's in Buffalo, except Eric Stahl looked like a hostage video when he went to Buffalo, like Mason Marchment. And granted, he has a very kind of like not smiley face, but it was the saddest, like, can't wait to get started in Seattle type of video. And it was like, oh, awful.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with Jason Robertson. Those rumblings intrigue me.
Would you trade for Jason Robertson?
Maybe. It would be a very full circle moment, uniting him, not reuniting him, but uniting him with Kirill Kaprizov.
I mean, you got to kick the tires on it, I think. The fact that Dallas is even considering moving Jason Robertson in order to get more cap space for like a Mikhail Granlund, who I like, who I would not mind seeing back in a Wild uni for a small price. But that just seems absolutely insane.
I'm just calling it right now. We're starting to see the demise of the Dallas Stars. They will not be as good as they have been. And I 100%. Have been praying for this moment.
100%. Like when I saw the announcement that Mason Marchment was traded, like, that's not great. And then, you go back a couple weeks when the Robertson rumors started. Obviously, Pete DeBoer gave like, what happened? They had it. The window seems to be shut right now for them.
Yep. But thank God they got Mikko Rantanen. Thank God.
It worked. They were so fun to watch for such a short bit of time, though. I really enjoyed it.
Well, now I can also finally have you stop talking about them. So.
I tried to resist, kind of, a little bit. They were fun to watch. How do you think Jonathan Taves, who has not played hockey in quite some time, how do you think he's going to fit in to the Winnipeg Jets? A juggernaut as well, who kind of fell apart because their goaltending fell apart. And that's the thing with Winnipeg. Do you think they're built mostly on their goaltending? Because on paper, it's a good team, but it seems like Connor Hellebuck falls apart and that team can't do anything.
Yeah, he carried that team. And I think that really showed. I mean, I shouldn't say that he carried the team. Yes, they still were a good team, but he was the difference for Winnipeg.
Right. Won all the awards to prove it. I think Taves, though, I think he's probably still got it, right?
I
A
mean, I
little
think he'll be
bit.
fine. He'll be serviceable, but that's also just a gamble in general to sign him. I mean, what was it? $2 million plus bonuses, like up to,
Yeah.
I want to say it could be up to like 5 million in bonuses is what I saw. I don't remember, but I don't know. It's not that big of a gamble, I guess, but still a little risky.
It's interesting. I mean, and you get the whole storyline of, oh, he gets to go back home and he gets to do this. And again, Taves a hell of a player. There's no question about that. It makes me wonder, like, what if Patrick Kane goes to Winnipeg? Do they just reunite and just stay best friends, BFFs?
It's possible.
I know. We have talked about it before, but I finally had a couple names to toss out to you. Actually, let me pull it up here. One moment. Please talk amongst yourselves. Free agency, the other thing. So, yes, people overpay on July 1, right? Like there's fireworks going figuratively and literally because it's Canadian days, and then you've got 4th of July festivities going on as well. And everybody tends to overpay for a goaltender. Now, I say this because you know me and goalies, right? Like I get very aggressive on my goaltending. I'm very nervous about the goaltending situation next year. Not that I don't believe in Jesper Velstead. Obviously, I believe in Philip Gustafsson. He is going to be your number one, but I want to go get a free agent goalie just as insurance. Somebody that can go down to Iowa as well, do good things, sign him for 2 years, be cheap. Who would you rather have? Ilya Samsonov or Alex Lyon? Or do you entertain James Reimer or Jake Allen as well?
Honestly,
Or do you hate them all?
I don't love any of them. I don't know. Alex Lyon, I think, was the one. I don't know.
Is that because of our
Big
familiarity
question.
with the kid, though? Like, I did think about that when I even put him on my list. I'm like, it's probably because he's a Minnesota guy, and we know him a little bit, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want that, but he's young enough that I think he wouldn't be disturbed by going to Iowa if needed.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm not against it. I just, goaltending heading into this season, more so because of Jesper, makes me nervous. I'm confident in Gus, but I mean, you've seen what happens when you ride your goalie too hard all season long without being able to give him breaks, such as like Jake Ottinger, Hellebuck.
Right.
You run him to the ground, so he needs help.
Yes, exactly. And again, I named the guys I did because they have enough NHL experience. Alex Lyon, the youngest of all those, but he's super cheap. He's the cheapest of all of the ones I'd mentioned too. I think last year he was paid under $1 million. Jake Allen, the more expensive one, 3.85 last year for his AAV. Samsonov, 1.8. And I think he's got a ton of experience, and James Reimer at just $1 million in Buffalo. So I think that's why I went with that. You have Ville Uso as well. He's more expensive. And I'm sure that I don't know what Anaheim's going to do with their goaltending situation or their team in general at all, but I just like the idea of having somebody there. And maybe it is Jake Allen, because that is the true veteran presence. Like I don't need somebody that's going to come in and be a 1B necessarily. I want to feel comfortable. I want to sleep well at night knowing that I don't have to be criticizing goaltenders anymore.
That's not going to happen.
That's definitely not going to happen, but that's okay. I mentioned Anaheim briefly because I do want to give a shout out. Greg Cronin announced as the Iowa Wild head coach officially today when we're recording this on Monday, although it was kind of leaked last week. Greg Cronin, super East Coast, Kirsten. Like that guy's got some rough around the edges, but I think I really like it too because he's got the college hockey experience. He's coached in the AHL. A lot of young players in Anaheim. I think he did pretty good things with the Ducks. Obviously, him getting fired would suggest otherwise, but I think it's because he can be a little bit of a tough cookie, but I do think he demands the most out of his young players, which obviously you need in Iowa right now.
Yeah, I was excited to see that hire. I think it's a really good hire by the Minnesota organization. I don't know. I think even after this past season in Iowa, they needed to make changes to their staff, and they had said they weren't going to. So I think Seattle forcing their hand by hiring their head coach and forcing that movement was very, very necessary because the executive staff for Minnesota said they weren't going to change anything. Clearly they needed to. So this also excites me to get some new life down there too.
Yeah, that was kind of out of nowhere that Brett McLean just all of a sudden joined their staff, right? Like I was like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, maybe he felt the writing on the wall. There was a lot of pressure. And that's the second time now that Iowa has had a coach that had no head coaching experience. Now, to be fair, you need to be able to start somewhere, so you're going to hire guys like that. But I think Iowa's in such a weird predicament, as you mentioned, just with the development of prospects or the lack thereof, frankly, that this Greg Cronin change could be exactly what they need to rejuvenate the prospect pool and get the most out of the players that they've been telling us for years are going to be tremendous.
Yep. So hopefully now we'll see it. I don't know. I'm excited to see what Iowa can even do this season with the changes.
And if the team stays healthy in St. Paul, then you will get to see what Iowa can do. Because again, I always try to refrain from being too critical of their actual season because they're playing shorthanded, just like Minnesota is, because they're pulling. Now, granted, I don't think pulling Devon Shore up to Minnesota should really be that impactful on Iowa, but neither here nor there. As I'd mentioned this week, though, we will get some more young players in the mix for Minnesota. Minnesota holding a second round, no first round as of right now. Obviously, the David Juracek trade earlier this year took that away from them. Kirsten, what's the percentage you think that Minnesota does, in fact, trade into the first round? Or do you think there's a nil percentage?
I don't think they're going to.
You don't think so? Why not?
don't think they're going to. And also, I don't think this year's draft is very deep. So I'm kind of like,
right.
Why? What's the point?
There's
no prospects even into this draft that I'm super excited about.
I don't know enough. I mean, I very rarely know enough. I know the Minnesota kids that are obviously eligible. Mason West out of Edina, kind of, they think the biggest name, and a couple of college guys here or there. But I agree, there's not the Macklin Celebrini or the Adam Fantilli and Connor Bedard years, right? Like, there's just not that type of class. So I think I agree. I don't know why Minnesota would trade into the first round.
If it was last year's draft, even year before draft, absolutely, without a doubt. This year, I don't know.
I just, even the second, like, I don't care. I don't know. I don't care, I guess, like, which is sad. Hockey's here. Hockey's coming back. But yeah, I agree. We talked about our last episode, the worst draft picks the Minnesota Wild have made. Other than Kirill Kaprizov, who was dug up like a gem in the 5th round, who has been either one, or you can name however many you want, the Wild's best draft pick in history?
Joel Eriksson.
I knew you were gonna. I was between two, because the other one.
Well, and the other one, Jonas Brodin.
First rounders. So I don't disagree with that. I think those seem fair. They're obviously projected to have really good careers. I would put Joel above Jonas, but maybe that's just recency bias, right? Like,
Joel would still be my number one.
Yeah. I think I look at it, and Broads has just been too hurt lately that I'm like, kind of falling off the wagon. I kind of still like the Mikhail Granlund pick, only because he's had a really good career. Brent Burns as a draft pick. Also, yes, he didn't do as much here with the Minnesota Wild. And Alex Tuch even. Like, I know it sucks to say these names because they are not members of the Wild, and you're like, God, they were really good picks. But I think those were some really solid picks when they had them, and unfortunate circumstances that Brent Burns goes and has an incredible career elsewhere, and Alex Tuch as well. Granlund, he stayed here long enough. He did.
I think Granlund, you just have recency bias with a lot more.
Because what team did he just do really well for? The Dallas Stars.
Okay. And like, why do I care that he had a good season with the Dallas Stars?
Saying he's had a good career, a nice little career. And I guess you could throw a bone. Marian Gaborik was a good pick, right?
Yeah.
You could throw that bone out there. But Kirill, without question, I think is their best ever if we're going deep into the draft. It's hard to find like those really good names in any other round that the Minnesota Wild have had. It's their first rounders or nothing. Like, they haven't found any guys like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
It's crazy. I want to know what you guys think. Let us know your favorite Minnesota Wild draft picks. Again, first round, second round, whatever. Kirill Kaprizov obviously tops up there. Joel Eriksson. Where would you put? Would Matt Dumba be considered a good pick for you?
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember his really good days before the upper body injury he sustained. But if we're going off of post upper body injury, no, I wouldn't say so.
I think had you asked me a couple years ago, I would have been like, Dumbo was a hell of a pick. Like, that was a really good pick. He has done really well. Again, another first rounder, so you put those high expectations on him. But yeah, I think his career, you're right, had that injury not happened, would have been much more successful, much longer. Not that it's done, but it feels kind of like it's done. Yeah, but I know he's part of that core group that we talk about. Let's wrap things up, Kirsten, with a couple of our cues. We're not going to get to all of them today. Kirsten's going to pick 2. I'm going to pick 2. We're going to rock and roll. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
No, you can start because I don't have my questions picked out yet.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. We've got a bunch that we could probably kind of group together. Again, a ton of Marco Rossi questions, a ton of trade-related questions. Let's go with Austin C. wants to know, do you think Brock Besser does in fact come to Minnesota? And if so, what does his contract look like? And what do you guys think would be an opening night roster when Rossi is re-signed? I do think people are starting to now be like, okay, Marco Rossi is going to be on the opening night roster. First, let's start there. Do you think Marco Rossi is on the opening night roster?
I think it's very 50-50. My personal opinion, I think the only contingency is if something happens with Buffalo. If there's nothing, no agreement, nothing that happens with Buffalo, he's on the opening night roster.
Fair. Brock Besser, what contract would you be comfortable giving Mr. Besser should that come to fruition next Tuesday?
That's hard because he has been an injured player. Health has been a big factor for Minnesota. I don't know, just kind of health-wise. I don't know what the money amount would be because I don't even know, even after all of the things we have to figure out financially now, getting out of the cap constraints, kind of what we're actually working with here. But I don't know, maybe like a 2-year deal just to make sure he has health to him.
Do like a bridge to start?
Yeah, like I would say a bridge deal is what I would be comfortable with.
I'd do 4 at 5, maybe 5.5.
I would do 4 if there was a guarantee he was healthy.
Right. And I think this year was one of his better seasons health-wise. Let's just pull it up. So he played 75 games this year, 81 last year. Or no, 75, last year, 81 the year prior. And then this year, I don't know why. Why would they even give me his like official team roster thing without like this year's stats? Like why would that be a thing? Like, yep, here's how he did every other year. That's just silly. Please pardon the interruption here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Brock Besser this season played, I thought he played like almost all year, but okay. No, it's still giving me 24, 25. I don't know how many games he played this year. I don't know why the Vancouver Canucks website sucks. I don't know how many games he played this year. It's embarrassing.
Well, we're running off vibes. Does it really matter?
No, he probably played a decent amount. I would say 4 years at 5.5 would be comfortable, which is still smaller. I bet you he wants a long-term deal so he can have that guarantee. I wouldn't be opposed to that because, again, he's 28. He's got a hell of a shot. I don't know, but I'm more comfortable with a 4-year deal and no protection because I'm not giving out protection to any players ever again.
Yeah, very fair.
And also, I still don't think Marco Rossi's on the opening night roster. As much as if he is, I'm fine with it. Need to remind people I'm fine with that. But I think Bill Guerin is going to find a way to trade him. And I think that that's going to happen before opening night. It might not be imminent, but wheeling and dealing. So that's mine.
Doesn't sound like he's getting any good offers.
No.
He's already declined some.
You package it, I can see him and Liam Ogren going and something else, maybe even another prospect. Or maybe David Spacek. There we go. Because Spacek doesn't want to be here. There's no defensive need.
Spacek better be a hell of a package. Package deal for a hell of a player.
One player. All right.
Way too early Stanley Cup and Walter Cup champs. Well, with Walter Cup, Vancouver, PWHL
Easily.
Vancouver, because the way the PWHL biffed that whole expansion draft is absolutely insane, and I'm pissed about it. Like, how do you allow that to happen? You allowed a super team to be built while screwing over some of your original 6 teams. How does Vancouver not win it all next season?
Not even like some of them, mostly Minnesota, but all of them. Like, basically, Vancouver is Minnesota 2.0 at this point because they took all of Minnesota's best players that helped you be successful for back-to-back Walter Cup champions. So I will be absolutely shocked. I will have the biggest shocked face in my entire life if Vancouver doesn't win this, because they are literally built to win.
Ottawa was stripped of a number of players. Montreal was stripped from a number of players. Like, the league biffed that expansion draft.
I mean, there's a difference between creating a competitive team and then, doing it wrong. And you're absolutely right. Like, I think rightfully so, fans are upset. I mean, and the team's hands were tied. You can't necessarily blame general manager Melissa Caruso, because she could only protect so many players and she could only do so much. And same with all the other general managers. And again, I think the league's still figuring itself out. So yes, it sucks right now. Hopefully during the next expansion, because we know that there should be more coming in the years to come, they don't do this, but for sure Vancouver is winning the PWH.
Well, I have heard expansion possibly as soon as like even the end of next year too. And it's like, you already like crippled a number of teams. Like, I don't know how it's sustainable moving forward.
Just figure it out.
Then way too early Stanley Cup champ. It's just hard. I'm doing mental gymnastics because so many teams are going to look different this next season. I'm going to say Colorado. I don't know. I just have a feeling Colorado, because I don't know. They're built different this year. I don't know.
But not. I agree. Something about Colorado. Colorado's never out of it, right? Like, they're never out of it. I feel like Nate Dogg is going to get them back on track. You still have Cale Makar. I think Brock Nelson having a full year under his belt could be dangerous as well. I would say, honestly, Colorado, same wavelength. Absolutely. One question I wanted to ask you, Kirsten, when we were talking about the Cup championships, Connor McDavid, same situation as Kirill Kaprizov right now, where he has one more year on his contract. Odds are he gets an extension, at least obviously an extension offer from Edmonton. Do you think Connor McDavid can win a cup in Edmonton, or do you think it's going to take him going somewhere else to win a Stanley Cup?
He's going to need to go somewhere else, and I think that was very evident too when everyone kept asking Leon Draisaitl if they think Connor's staying, and he's like, I can't answer that for you. I don't know. I feel the writing's on the wall. He's going to leave Edmonton this offseason.
I've been saying it for years, guys. Like, Edmonton they don't make the right moves sometimes. It doesn't mean anything when you have the number 1 and number 2 player on your team if you don't build around that. And Florida is a prime example of it. So yeah, I would agree with that. I just needed to ask you about our boy Con as well. All right, so we both got Colorado. We both got Vancouver. Pete J wants to know how many points for Z Booyam next year.
40. I don't know. Like, a little hefty.
Is he scoring or is he assisting?
I feel like he's an assist machine.
Yeah, I like that.
Playmaker.
I'm gonna pull a Price is Right. I'll go like 42. 42. You'll see him on special teams.
So going up literally 2 on me.
Yeah, that's what Price is Right does. Actually, they only go up on 1, but I went up on 2. I would say. I mean, I'd be comfortable even saying 45. Like, the way that I think he can come in. And ice time alone, he's going to have the opportunity and situations that he's going to be playing in. I'd say that for sure. All right, and your final question?
Hockey and loud music. Is it possible everything will be okay? Seriously, not a joke. Too much doom and gloom around this team again lately. Hockey and loud music? I don't know. I don't know. And in the words of Taylor Swift, I asked the traffic lights if it'll be all right. They said, I don't know.
What does that even mean?
You're just reaching out, asking anything. Are things going to be okay? Or looking for a sign, and all it says is, I don't know.
What if the traffic lights are green? That means go, which means yes, it's going to be okay.
But like how it goes red, yellow, green, green, yellow, red. I don't know.
Oh.
It changes. Yeah, it's always changing.
That question sounds like a music lyric designed for you.
I know. That's why I picked that question.
Yes, I think everything is going to be fine. I am excited for next week no matter what happens, because it gets a little invigorating. It gets my juices going. You know what I mean? Like, free agency can be so exciting. I both love and despise it, because I have to be so like on call, knee jerk reaction. Like, I was already going through my schedule next week with the kids and with Mike and being like, so next week, mommy's just going to have to be able to go and do something at a whim. And I hate it, but also it is I'm like a junkie that way, because I kind of love it. I'm like, put it right in the veins. Just put it right in the veins. And Beauty League comes back. We had a fun month of no hockey, 2 months of no hockey, and then we're back in the swing of things. But cool, that's going to do it for us. Again, we'll probably answer some questions maybe throughout the week. Otherwise, we'll hold them back for 2 weeks from now because don't forget, we will not have a new episode next week, but instead the week following, we'll probably hop on and do some conversation on free agency stuff, if anything exciting comes down into play. But until then, enjoy the summer. It's supposed to be kind of nice this week, which will be a nice change of pace without being completely melting, scorching hot. Anyway, Brooks is into it. I don't know if you guys can hear her.
Yeah.
I'm sure my Amazon package is here. That'll do it. Rate, subscribe, like, love, share. You guys are the best. Have a great rest of your week. Bye. Near, 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 near.